Good morning. It's Sunday, April 14th. Time to go on the record. He's chair of the House Ways and Means Committee on Beacon Hill. And this week, Representative Aaron Michaelwitz has released his first state budget. How your tax dollars are being spent.
Tax day and the second tax season since the big Trump tax cut. How's it been for you?
Third is not the charm for Senator Elizabeth Warren, why she's lagging behind two presidential rivals in her home state.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to On the Record. I'm Ben Simoneau in for Ed Harding this morning. News Center 5 political reporter Janet Wu, of course, is with me as she always is. And our guest this week is State Representative Aaron Michaelwitz. He's a Democrat from the 3rd Suffolk District and is chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. He's served in the legislature since 2009 and is a graduate of Northeastern University. Representative Michaelwitz, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, and you missed one thing in my bio, which is Marianne Marsh is one of my favorite constituents.
There you go.
Oops, well, she must get your ear quite a few times then. So the headline from your very first budget, which was released this past week, is that you are not including new taxes you can't count on, including taxing opioids, manufacturers, taxing e-cigarettes, taxing sports betting. And some of these things the governor wants, many others are things that people think are easy targets for money. So my question to you is, are you philosophically against these ideas?
No, we're not philosophically against them. I think what we're at the moment trying to figure out, building a budget off of what revenues we currently have. I think there's a lot of discussion about what should we do when we approach the revenue conversation, whether it's to pay for things like transportation, education, climate resiliency. And there were some of those proposals that we did accept in the governor's proposal, but some we didn't because we just felt they needed some more vetting through a committee process, through, going through the regular legislative process.
Do you think some of these things might end up as revenue for your budget starting on July 1st in the end as the next few months unfold?
I wouldn't per se, we have that plan at this moment. I think it's really about the future in terms of looking down the road, what type of revenues we would use. But as of right now, we didn't include them in the House budget. We're going to have a further conversation about revenue later in the session. But that's, we had to build a budget based off what we had currently in front of us at this moment.
I have to ask you about the millionaire's tax. It was a big deal. It didn't make the budget for constitutional reasons. Is that something that the House and the Senate are going to take up this year?
I think we're certainly looking at it. Because it's going to be a constitutional amendment. It's going to take more than just one session for us to put it on the ballot. It's something I've supported in the past. I voted for it when we were trying to put it on the ballot the last time in last session, and I'm going to vote for it again when that opportunity does arise.
Let's talk about school funding. Education, of course, one of the biggest responsibilities any state has. And the good news is Massachusetts, across the board, generally does pretty well. The bad news is there are still huge inequities in the quality and the funding levels for our public schools. What do you do about that to, even the feel between, say, a district like Wellesley and a district in a city like, say, Lawrence or Fall River?
Yeah, education is obviously a huge talking point, a huge discussion point at this juncture in the legislative process. And we put a significant amount, I would say even a historic amount of money into Chapter 70 in the budget that we released yesterday.
It's more money than the governor asked.
It's more money than the governor asked. It's $236 million more than would be in last year's budget for Chapter 70, which was $36 million more than the governor had. And we also allocated a certain amount of money for low-income students. We've allocated a reserve strictly for low-income students. So this way we could put a down payment on a conversation that's currently being had at the State House related to how to handle the Foundation Budget Review Commission's recommendations. And I think we took a big step yesterday. I think we still have some work to do, but we took a giant step yesterday.
To follow up on that, I live in a suburban district, and I know just about every year we're asked for an override. And it's things that are out of the district's control largely. Health care, pensions, and basic teacher salaries. I think everyone would agree they deserve a raise. Is it time to take a look at some of the costs that are really, impinging on paying for basic education for our kids?
Well, for education, I think we all need to look ourselves in the mirror related to this issue. The state from a funding perspective, and I think all our municipalities, need to look themselves in the mirror as well to better figure out how we can better serve our children, as a whole. It's not just about funding. Funding's not going to do all this, the solving of the issue. It's also going to be about structure within these school systems that's going to take shape. And so it is not just one entity that's going to solve this, potential issue.
The Education Committee, as you know, is going to be coming up with a proposal on how to deal with these inequities between the different communities. However, you're the one that's going to have to find the money for it. Where are you going to get the cash from, considering the fact that you've, as you just said in your own words, was just a deposit towards this, changing the system?
Well, I think it depends on what directions we take with revenue, with that conversation of revenue. I think what we did with this budget,
the ones that you have not yet accepted, but you may adopt this next year.
Right, or over the next year or so, or whether it's the the Fair Share Amendment in a couple of years. I think for right now, though, we put in a significant amount of money for what we had the ability to allocate, and I think we like I said, I think we took a large step. But I think this is a conversation that's going to continue to be had through that Education Committee process. They had a hearing on a number of bills related to this 2 weeks ago. I think they're gonna come up with a plan that's related to how to better solve this issue long term. But I think we, from the budget standpoint, we had to keep the ball rolling and making sure that we weren't stepping on their toes or restricting what they can end up doing.
Let's talk about gaming. Your budget does account on a certain amount of revenues, about $300 million from gaming, and about a third of that is supposed to come from Encore, or what used to be known as the Wynn Resort. The name's changed, but it's still run by the same people. And the Gaming Commission is now in the process of reviewing whether they want to change ownership. What do you think? Is it time to change ownership, or is it too late?
I think that's a decision for the commission to make a decision on. I think that they, are the ones that are dealing with all the facts and figures related to that. I haven't sat in on any of those hearings. I don't really know exactly, what direction they're going to go. But I do think, it's an important discussion to have. I think that we put the money.
But you're counting on that money, right?
We are.
Starting July 1st, and so if they change ownership, that money's not going to come in.
Well, we'd have to readjust our thinking then if that's the case. But as of right now, we assume that there is going to be an opening of Encore sometime in June, which will mean July 1st there will be significant
So you're betting on the fact
in.
that the ownership is not going to change.
I guess you can put it in that sense, yes.
All right, let's. New York made a lot of headlines lately in the last couple of weeks when they made this push. The governor and the mayor are on board in New York for congestion pricing. They think it'll raise about $1 billion a year to enter Manhattan at peak times. They're going to use that money to bond $15 billion to fix their transit system. Most folks could argue our transit system is in about as dire straits as New York's. Is it time for some kind of congestion pricing when you enter Boston? Folks already pay on the Pike and the Tobin. Why don't folks coming in from other routes pay?
I mean, I think it's certainly part of the conversation that we're going to have related to transportation revenue and revenue as a whole, like I said. But it's not just about congestion pricing. There's going to be a discussion about the gas tax. There's going to be a discussion about whether to raise the fees on Uber and Lyft.
But we need more money. You think everyone agrees?
I think it's been pretty clear that we do need some type of new revenue source related to trying to come up with some of these.
Are you personally philosophically against congestion pricing, or do you support it?
No, I'm not philosophically against it. I'm open to it. I think. I'd like to, see more about it, learn more about it, see what it also depends on what that numbers would be. At the end of the day, a lot of this depends on how much we're gonna charge or end up taxing for the idea of what we're gonna pay for.
In my hands, I have the OTR Pop Quiz. Time for that. Some trivia from the State House in the 3rd Suffolk District. All right, the Gold Dome of the State House hasn't always been gold. In fact, it was originally painted gray, and it was painted gray a second time during the 20th century. So the question is, when was that? Why was it? Was it a Depression-era austerity measure, gold leaf price spike, or World War II safety measure?
Oh, that is a tough one, right off the bat. I'm going to say C, World War II safety.
You got it. It is. Was a World War II
Very
safety
good guess.
measure. It was there to protect against reflection during blackout periods.
Off to a good start.
All right, you are. He has a statue outside the State House, but his political legacy actually began over the border in New Hampshire. Who are we speaking of? A. Franklin Pierce, B. Daniel Webster, or C. Charles Sumner?
I'm going to say Franklin Pierce.
The answer is B, Daniel Webster. He served as a congressman from New Hampshire, of course, then served as both congressman and a senator from right here in Massachusetts.
I knew it was all downhill after the first one.
All right, well, more pop quiz and more with Representative Aaron Michaelwitz right after this short break. Stay with us.